And to look back now and to watch the documentary on the Muscle Shoals and see how dang lucky we were to have had that opportunity. And I wish we could go back there with iPhones and film those days, because it was incredible. Just incredible. Here we are, 18 years old. We have a record deal with Atlantic. Amit's producing the record. And it was just, it was like pure magic.
Was it successful? Did you get radio time? Did you go on tour at all as a result of that?
Well, here's what happened. We cut the record, and we got the reel-to-reel tape of it to take home. And we were getting money from Atlantic, and we lived in some dive hotel in L.A. called Cherokee Apartments, and it was really, we had a couple of bachelor rooms that had a kitchen and a bed. Everything was in one room, basically, in a bathroom. And so we were waiting for the next thing to happen. What's next? And nothing was happening. So I called Amit, and he said, "I'm coming to LA. Let's get together." So we went to Earl McGrath was a guy who started a label through Atlantic called Clean Records, and Amit invited us over to a party, and we played there, and we were a big hit. And Amit came over to me and said, I love the record, but I don't think we're there yet. I think we need some more songs," which was devastating to me. I thought, oh God. So he goes, "Listen," and here's from a record company president. He says, "Listen, I don't want you to try to write a hit. I want you to write what you feel." And so wasn't exactly sure what he meant, but I said, okay, well, maybe I'll just stop trying to write a hit and just write. So spent a lot of time at the park across the street from the apartment we lived in, writing songs. So there were 3 songs I wrote that were not originally on the recording down in Muscle Shoals. A song called "Don't You Hear Me Calling," a song called "Me and My Guitar," and "Let Me Go." And they replaced 3 other songs that were on the record. We cut them out in L.A. And used different people, John Barbada, Chris Etheridge, and some other guys. And so we finished the record, and Amit really loved the new songs. And he was right. It was a better record with those 3 songs. And from that point on, I thought about writing differently. I thought, I need to write for the act. I'm not like a publishing writer that's trying to write a hit for Dale Shannon or something. I need to write, and the thing was, we were developing as we went on. We didn't really know in the beginning. Mark was just up there jamming behind me, and all of a sudden this thing started happening, and it became kind of better than we'd ever imagined it could be. We always knew we were good, and we were really cocky, but then we started getting really good. I mean, especially for our age, to be able to play like that, sing like that, and be able to write songs like that at that age. Again, we didn't really know what's the big deal. This is what we do. And so we finished the record, and then it just sat again. We got, God, what's wrong? And so finally, in the fall of '71, we met with Amit, and he told us that the record was going to come out. And so, because we'd been on the shelf for so long with this record, almost a year, I mean, for us it was crazy. We had to come out the next day after we were in Muscle Shoals. We decided to call the album Off the Shelf, because it finally came off the shelf and got released. And I remember we went to our first photo shoot, and this guy, Barry Feinstein, was the kind of an Atlantic photographer. He and this other guy made album covers. And I remember going there, and we used to smoke pot, but we didn't smoke pot like this before. This pot was like rich guy pot. And we smoked pot, and we were, he had some action shots we were playing, and if you open up the cover, we were just sitting there. I mean, we were so friggin' stoned, and so he made a nice album cover, and then the record got released, and so we're finally out, and Amit came to the Beverly Hills Hotel again, and we went over there, and when we were there, he has the radio on, and our song "Can You See Him" was on the radio when we came to the hotel. With this is like this, like, we're stars, man, we're on fire. And what Amit said, I go, wow, this is great, man, we're gonna be stars. He goes, what he said, he says, don't worry, we made our mark, because we had become an act. I didn't kind of know what that meant, but as you get older, you understand that you did make a mark. Because a lot of people made records and never got on the radio. People never heard of them. So from that point on, Batdorf Rodney was born.
How did you get connected with some of the major groups that were happening at that time for you to be opening for them, such as Brad, Silzencroft, etc.?
Well, what happened was we signed with a manager, Harvey Kresge, who we'd met through another duet, Gabriel Gladstar, that we had met in LA, and we thought they were great. And those guys, Phil Morgan and Mike Wynn, we thought they were so good, and we told Amit that he needed to see this group, because I'm not signing anybody. I don't want to sign anybody. I said, well, you kind of need to see these guys, because we were blown away by them. So they auditioned for Amit, and he wanted to sign them. So they had a friend, Harvey Kresge, and he tried to negotiate their deal, and their deal never happened. But then Harvey became our manager, and he'd been an agent for years. He'd worked with Sonny and Cher, and a whole bunch of other people, and he'd been an agent at William Morris. So he kind of became our guide, because we didn't know what, we had dealt with Amit by ourselves. We didn't understand that you have managers, and again, we were just going through the forest with machetes, cutting our path. And so he had us sign with IFA, which was a big-time agency in LA. And so they put us on the Bread tour. Bread was huge at the time. I mean, just huge. They had like mega hits. And so we went on a national tour with Bread. And we added a drummer and a bass player. So we had to fit within their they had like a semicircle they played, and we had to fit within that. And we did. And we just smoked the place when we played. We were so good. And Bread was really good. A little boring to watch one ballad after another at a concert. And we were these wild hippie guys jumping up in the air, playing rock and roll on acoustic guitar. And one of the guys that saw us in Philadelphia said, I came to the show to see Bread, and I see these hippies come out, and I'm thinking they're Bread's roadies getting the gear. And he said, they suddenly they're playing acoustic guitar, and just blew us away, because we were like a rock band that were unplugged. And so it was a great way for us to start, because we saw, thousands of people saw us. And we kind of broke into FM. That was back when FM was really huge. It was taking over kind of the